Okay. Hello all, thank you for joining Product Hire Job Clubs. And we have an awesome event tonight, UX Design Portfolio Review. We've done these in the past. They're always really fun. We thank you for just joining us and being vulnerable, because we will be going through these live. And Cindy is going to be doing it, Cindy Brummer. She's also awesome. And so let's get started. We'll be quick announcements, and then we'll jump into portfolio reviews, and we'll do that ASAP. And Cindy needs to leave sharply at 6:30, so we're going to be respectful of her time. Sponsors, thank you so much for General Assembly for just always being a great partner, and to Product Hired, which I am also co-founder of, besides running all these job clubs. So, Brianna.
Hey y'all, thank y'all so much. My name is Brianna and I manage events and workshops for General Assembly. I'm based in Austin, Texas, but General Assembly is actually the headquarters are in New York, but we have almost 40 campuses around the globe. We are a global tech education company focused on the most in-demand skills, primarily within business, data, design, and coding. And our mission is to empower individuals to do what they love. And we've done a few different ways. We offer full-time immersive courses for those looking to make career changes. We offer part-time courses for those looking to level up. We have workshops and free community events like this one almost on a daily basis. So lots of ways to get involved in our community. And yeah, we can go to the next slide. We have a really awesome, we're very excited to announce this. It's something that our community has been asking for a while. It sounds like a lot of y'all are already familiar, as I found out in the networking session, with certificate programs. We actually just launched our UX immersive program along with our data science immersive program in a part-time capacity. So it's the same amount of instructional hours scaled to over 6 months. It's also still available in the 12-week intensive format as well. But it just allows our students to continue working a full-time job or part-time job on top of doing these programs. So very excited. You can go to ga.co/UXDIRFX for information if you're looking, if you're considering that program. We have so much stuff coming up at GA. If you're looking to level up, if you're looking to get more involved, if you're looking for job seeking, we definitely have events and workshops that fit those needs. So we are in June for some free events that are coming up. We have what are product hiring managers looking for. We have an entire week about celebrating Pride. We have an event on how to get promoted to a director of product, which a few of these are partnered with Product Hired on. And wrapping up June, we have Marketing Week. So those are full weeks dedicated to panel discussions and workshops dedicated to those topics. We have a few workshops. These are 2-day workshops that I thought this group may be interested in a weekend in May, 29th and 30th. We have a 2-day Adobe Creative Cloud crash course and a 2-day product design boot camp in June. I'm pretty sure I know the instructor for that product design boot camp, and she's fantastic. I can drop those links in the chat, and just wanted to give y'all a discount code if y'all are interested in diving in a little bit deeper on those topics and joining us for those classes. I think that's all from me. I'm sure there are some events that I'm forgetting, but if you have any questions, I'll stick around. And thank y'all so much for being here and having GA part of today's awesome event with Cindy.
Cool. Thanks, Brianna. So let's talk about Product Hired. So Product Hired is it's a product career site, really. That's where it's becoming, and you can find jobs there. You can post jobs. There's interview guides. And even product events, for example, Product Hire Job Club. So basically, you can find and post jobs, so it's easy to do. We get jobs hourly, and I think last I looked, we have around 40,000 jobs on producthire.com. product jobs, not just like, plumber jobs, but this is product jobs. So definitely take a look. Coaching, and this is the coaching thing. We have a lot of coaches. We have, I think, 51 coaches right now, and they can do resume reviews, portfolio reviews, ding, 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 ding. Cindy's one of our coaches, and it's awesome. They do career coaching, and they can even help you do with interview prep. And we have coaches, they set their own prices, so they can be anywhere from free, and a lot of them are free, all the way to paid. And so definitely check that out, producthire.com/coaching. And if you want to become a coach, we are looking for coaches, and it's free to be a coach. And again, you can do it for free. You can do it for paid. We don't charge you anything to be a coach. So, we just want to help build the community. And we have a lot of amazing coaches. And there you see Cindy. Some of you might know William. He's a coach. And there's just so many others who are really awesome. And a lot of these people are our speakers on Product Hire Job Club. So if you haven't heard them speak yet, they soon probably will be. So out of product hire mode, moving into what is this meetup about? And we really try to be a place to network, which is why we do the networking. We want a place where you can get some coaching. So a lot of our speakers are coaches, actually. It's a place to find jobs. So, for example, Roman was talking about, he's looking for graphic designers. And it's a place for people like Roman to find jobs, to find talent. And it's a place to learn how to, navigate interviews and all this stuff. So we really are focused on honing yourself and getting to that next role, whatever it may be. And so what do we define product? So product is product managers, product marketing, product owners, user researchers, data, product design, designers, project managers, program managers, and data scientists. So really, like we cover, if you work on a product, we try to cover subjects for you, except engineering, because that would just be too much. So we don't do engineering. So what are our values? We're community focused. We really try to be relational, and we believe in helping one another. And what does that mean is, if you're applying for a job or you see a job that you're not interested in, tell others about it, right? Share the love. And, I'm a big believer, the job really is for one person. So don't feel like you're in competition. Feel like, hey, you need to find the right fit. And so definitely help each other out. So we have a YouTube channel. We have lots of videos on YouTube. So check it out. Just look up Product Hired on YouTube, and you subscribe and get all notifications, as they always say, because that helps our algorithm. But lots of video sessions that you will all find valuable. So please check that out. And this video will be up on there as well, as soon as I get it and process it and all that fun stuff. So upcoming events. We have a lot going on in June. Let me tell you, June 2nd, we have what are product hiring managers looking for? And so Rajesh is going to be speaking and kind of give a perspective of a hiring manager, which will be really invaluable for you to understand. We have a Product Camp online panel, and this is about 35 minutes long. So it's a quickie. It's during the day. It's at 10:15 Central Time. Make a way to make it work. But you got to register on Product Camp, productcamprtp.org and register there. But it's myself, Isaiah McKeek, Dan Corbin, and Cindy are going to be the panelists. And that's going to be a really great. And it's why coaching and mentorship matters to both mentors and to mentees. Like, I've learned so much as a mentor. Then June 16th, how to get promoted to be a director of product. So this is actually for more advanced people, how to move from an individual contributor role into a director role. And this is going to be an amazing talk, and we're very excited about this. And then July 12th, think like a product manager. So this is a talk Dan Corbin's going to see, like, how do you need to think in order to land that job, right? How does your thinking need to change? What are hiring managers looking for, and things like that. So we have a lot coming up. Definitely check it out on meetup.com and RSVP. And if it's not on our site, RSVP somewhere else. It'll take you there. Featured session. Okay. So very excited to introduce Cindy, and I had her lovely bio up here, but it tends to have flown off to another screen where I know not where it is. So anyways, Cindy's awesome. She's the creative director at Standard Beagle Studio. She is deeply involved in the community in Austin and loves to help people and mentor them. And she's a coach on product art, as I mentioned. And she's just, I've been in these live sessions before, and she's just such a help in honing your portfolio. And she just finished your master's. Is it your master's or doctorate? Master's?
My master's.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, Cindy, I'm going to let you take over. And here we go.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Brianna. I am so happy to be here with you guys. And I love this size group, actually. This is fantastic. If you are open to turning on your camera so I can see your face, I love that because I'm all about interaction here. I do have a few slides that I tend to share just to kind of give a little bit of an overview. If you guys let me kind of share that really quick. And I will go through it. So we're here to talk about portfolios. And I get questions all the time about how do I create my portfolio? What should be on there? And you know what? I'm sorry to tell you, but it kind of depends in a lot of ways. But what we want to do is kind of hit the big concepts that we can in terms of what to kind of think about as you're putting your portfolio together. So Mark did a great job of introducing me. This is why I do what I do. My family, it's a little bit older picture. And then just I'm involved in everything. I'm graduate now of MICA, got my master's degree. I did go to the University of Texas a million years ago, and I get to teach a boot camp through UT, which is really fun. And I also am the founder of UX and ATX, among a million other things that I'm doing. But working with UX designers, working with, in particular, junior designers is one of my passions because I really want to share what I've learned. Because back in the day, I had no idea. I'm not gonna lie, guys. When I made that transition from my previous career into UX, this has been a long time, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was scared of asking for feedback. I was really worried about what people would tell me, and I kept myself very much in a silo away from everyone. And it wasn't until I sought out feedback, I started talking to other designers and really getting to be part of this community that I realized that I don't want other people to go through the path that I went through. So now I speak, I facilitate client sessions and workshops, and I'm so excited now. This was taken pre-COVID. I'm so excited that the world is starting to open up again. So hopefully I can speak in front of groups in person, but I do love being online as well. So what I want to start off today is kind of talk to you about the things that a lot of people won't tell you when you're putting together your portfolio. I'm sure some have. This may not be brand new information, and some of it may seem really, well, duh, of course. But a lot of people focus on the aesthetic of the portfolio and kind of the individual components. And I really want you to think about the content. And the first thing I tell people is I really want to see your why. And what that means is that process that you went through, and not just that you followed a checklist, but that there was some real critical, like real thought that went in there, like the decisions that you made and how they led to the next decision. And it's very much a story that you're telling me about why you did the things you did, because as designers, we have this giant toolbox. And we're not necessarily going to use every single tool with every single job. It's kind of like a plumber. They have all these things that they can do, but a plumber doesn't bring a sledgehammer in to fix a leaky toilet. At least I hope they don't. And the same thing goes for us as designers. We have a lot of different tools. We don't necessarily use them, and we need to show that we know which tool to use and be able to back it up and explain why we're doing it and have good reason for it. The second thing, and this is the part that I think a lot of people struggle with, is I want to see your mess. I really do. I want to see that you you probably faced problems, and I want to see what they were, and I want to see how you handled them, because nobody's perfect. And if I put you in my workplace and things don't go well, how will you handle them? What are you taking lessons away from them? Are you learning from those mistakes? How are you pivoting? Because not everybody's perfect all the time. And I'm going to call BS on you if I see an absolutely perfect process every single time, because I know that's not true. So I want to see more than your happy path. I want to see the little things. Now, obviously, we need to temper it. You don't want to say, well, I was an idiot. But you do want to say, like, hey, this hypothesis wasn't quite right. We learned from it and we were able to take it in a different direction. Whatever the case may be, I want to see lessons learned. I also want to know that you can think for yourself. And this is very, very much kind of hand in hand with, showing me your why, is the critical thinking that you are able to display. This is probably one of the most important things as a UX designer, is to be able to show critical thinking skills, because I need to be able to trust the people that I hire to be able to do independent work. And yes, you might be a junior stepping into a role. I'm going to push you beyond your comfort zone at least a little bit, just to see, because I can't do it all and I don't have time to hold your hand. So I need to be able to see in your portfolio that you are able to handle the challenges that as a hiring manager, I'm likely to put in front of you, or as your senior designer or your team lead. I need to be able to see that you can do it, that you're not going to be running to me with a problem every single time. There's mentorship, and then there's a hand holding, and the hand holding is the thing that I don't have time to do. And then finally, be sure to respect my time. And I mean like as the person reviewing your portfolio, because you really need to be cognizant that those people who are reviewing your portfolio probably don't have more than 5 minutes to do it. If you are lucky, you can engage them for a little bit more time, but they're looking at lots and lots of different resumes and portfolios, and they just don't have enough time to spend. So this comes into crafting the story of you and your work. How can you do it in a concise way so that you can tell it to me within 60 seconds? I need to be able to see within 60 seconds. And so that's a little bit about like the basics that I'm looking for. I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I know we want to get to the fun stuff of the actual portfolio review. But before I get started, does anybody have any specific questions around things to include in a portfolio, that if you have any burning questions here?
I have a really quick question. So if we're working on projects that aren't live, that are just for practice, such as a redesign or a passion project, is that okay to include?
I personally think so. I don't think you have to have live products in order to have that in your portfolio. In fact, I'm usually asking, like, what are you working on now? Even if you're in the job hunt and you're doing something that is not, for an employer. So I think that's totally fine. There is a little bit of caution if you're just like deciding that, oh, I'm going to redesign Facebook. So, give some reasoning to why you've chosen that project, but I think that's fine. Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
I found that focusing on a specific type of design pattern and, really honing in on a niche when you're, working on your designs helps in your marketing process. I know that's what I look for when I look for designers is,
what type of type of designer is this? Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, like
because
artwork. What does their artwork look like?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Does it all kind of look the same and kind of follow the same, same patterns, or are they working in a lot of different spaces?
Yeah, I would say that what I tell designers is if you have an interest in working in, say, mobile app design, then you should probably have mobile app design in your portfolio, even if it's a passion project, even if you don't quite have experience in it as a professional. You need to have that in there. I met somebody that she was really interested in conversational design, but didn't have anything like that in her portfolio. So my advice to her was go make up a project, do something that's around conversational, because you need to be able to show that you have some sort of experience, even if it's just a passion project that you did.
Right.
Brittany, did you have a question?
Yeah, regarding the messy kind of showing your process, do you think, in your opinion, like showing the bulk of like a case study is mostly just your process, or do people really want to see like the final outcome?
They want to see both.
Okay.
So what I've been honing in on lately with portfolios is having some sort of snapshot summary at the top of your case study that is problem, solution, and impact. Impact, I think, is getting more and more important, to be able to show the impact that your design made, and then having the process that you followed underneath that's fairly in depth with all of your deliverables. You know, how you put that together, how you create it is up to you, but those kind of basic elements I think are really important.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I
Any
do
other-
have one question before
Sure.
we get started. So with my company, it's kind of hard to represent that end result because as UXers, we all know that what we recommend sometimes never get to development how we recommend it. And so I guess my question is, I do have high fidelity prototypes in color sometimes, but if someone wants to see an end result, should I just kind of mock up an end result of what I think it should be or what I think it would be, as opposed to showing the end result on the development side? Because a lot of the times developers pick and choose what they can and will do, and it's always a fight of priority and development debt and all that stuff. So I guess my question is, how do we represent the end result when A, it's not your recommendation fully, or B, it's been tossed to the graveyard? So how do I represent? I have the blood, sweat, and tears, but I don't have that beautiful picture at the end.
That's a great question, Danielle. And what I would recommend is showing your designs. Like that, to me, that's most important. Whether or not it made it through to development is a little bit less important. But when it comes to that piece, I think it's important to call it out. And say these designs were redlined or whatever it is, and this is what happened, and the developers did this and this, because it's really common for designs to go through that iteration and change before they go into production. So I think your designs as part of your case study is the most important thing, and then being able to tell that story of what happened once it did go into development and when it was in the engineer's hands, but be honest about it. Like just be able to be upfront about it, about that, it's not going to look the same. And here are the decisions and why they decided to do things this way, I think is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I do have like a Moscow document to back up kind of iterations that we agreed upon, like the scope and what was out of scope, and do we have time to do a little bit of out of scope, the MVPs. It ultimately is up to the stakeholder on what they want to do. It's not my product, I don't own it. So that's really good advice to demonstrate what could have been versus what is.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? I heard something.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I have seen some articles about like how daily UI doesn't belong in portfolios. But at one point I did put in there and then I read it and I removed it because some of the things they say make sense, because they said that too many people are doing this challenge, and that doesn't make the portfolio any more special. So I was wondering, but I have talked to some people, they said that, yeah, you can put it in there. So I was wondering, like, does daily UI actually belong in there?
So for me, a UX portfolio is all about process. And the UI challenge is great for honing those specific UI design skills, but there's so much that's left out. You don't know anything about the business goals. You don't know anything about the user goals. And so, you know, it doesn't really help tell a story about how your process works as a designer. That being said, you know, maybe not included in your case studies, but, you know, maybe you have a section of just UI work that, you know, it's kind of separate under a different tab. Because, you know, from my perspective, it doesn't tell me what your process is as a UX designer, because there's so much more than just designing the UI. But I think it's I think it's really fun. I think the bigger problem that I see is that there's about a million junior designers and no one's looking for junior designers. And it sucks because there just aren't enough junior design jobs. Although I do know that Product Hire does have quite a few junior jobs, so you should look there. But most companies are looking for mid to senior level designers and are willing to, you know, pay them for that work. So it's already a struggle because the job market is kind of squeezed, and then there's all these new designers coming into it. So you want to find every way you can to stand apart from everybody else. And it might be that the UI challenge, because everybody else is doing it, doesn't make you stand out. Although I have to admit that when I look at portfolios, I don't see that much. So I can't speak to how common it is for people to put in their portfolio. So you might be able to spin that a little bit differently, comment, you know?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Sure. All right. Well, I know that you guys want to see some portfolio reviews. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the first one. Give me a second so that I can share my screen. And I've never looked at this portfolio before, so this should be fun. Okay, everybody can see my screen? All right, Danielle. Cool. So I like that immediately I kind of have a feel for that you are a UX designer, mostly because of this lovely affinity diagram that you're showing me at the very top. I like that you have this statement about who you are at the very top, which is a lot of what I'm looking for. Let me move the people. Cool. And you have a pretty simple navigation, so I like that as well. You might think about having this part here where it says, I believe that a good design isn't just nice to look at, it's functional. Maybe have that stand out a little bit more, because when I first saw this, there's just a lot of text here, and I saw full stack UX designer, and then that was pretty much all I read until I saw it's functional. And I think that has to do with just people in general with scanning. So one of the ways that I do that is I will bold the keywords that I want people to read. It might be something that you think about, and then maybe making this like a heading, because I like that you're just calling it out like immediately, like what you do. Of course, now I'm kind of like, what is a full stack UX designer? But knowing you, because you've been at it for a long time, and you said you did you're a coder too, right? An engineer. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to scroll down. I see you've got some projects here. So one thing that I'm seeing more and more designers do is show bigger images of like a thumbnail of their project and with a link that goes to it. And this might get lost here. So what you might do is add an image, like push this row down a little bit and add an image over your time and attendance app and your mobile app and your CRM. So I can get a feel for like what the project was more visually. That's what I would suggest. And give us a little bit of breathing room, like really play it up, because you have a lot of experience, and you might even, I don't know if you have more projects that you also have in your case studies, but you might have like a read more underneath.
Okay.
Like make this section is probably the most important thing on your homepage.
Okay.
And so I would for sure like really play on this a lot more.
Okay, I wasn't sure on how many to add. I wasn't sure if I tried to give a variety of each type of project, but that's good to know that I can pretty much add, the rest of them with a read more.
Yeah, you can do, well, I would just do 3 because, as we know as designers, like people can't handle more than like 3 to 5 choices, right? So keep it your 3 best ones on your homepage. And then if they want to keep looking, the read more to go to all the case studies. I'm not going to lie though, like, and I've heard this from multiple other people who review portfolios. They look at all of them. They might even scroll down all the way down the page, and then they go back to the first one and click on it. And that's the one, it's always the first one that they click on. So whatever this one is, make this the best one, like your most awesome one. I thought it was just me until I talked to a whole bunch of others. Like, yeah, I always scroll down and then I click on the first one. So,
that's almost like a heat map, right? And so you kind of go, it's the F. So you read down and then you go across. So that's psychology.
yes, exactly. I like that you have your process here, but I mean, I'm going to be looking for it in each case study as well as you tell the story of that. So, I'm not saying you need to take this out, but it's just something you may not need to do. This is pretty cool. This you might move up the my stats because I like seeing big numbers and it's just a little bit different. The other thing that I often recommend on the homepage is putting something a little bit more personal on here. I do like your image of the affinity diagram, but if there's any like illustration or if you put a picture of yourself on here, because I get to know designers through their portfolio, and I have heard this from other folks as well, that they kind of want to get a snapshot, but it doesn't have to be like a photo. It doesn't have to be like a headshot. It doesn't even have to be a picture necessarily of you, just something that gives a little bit of insight into who you are. So I have one person that I know that he's fascinated with space, and he created this animation that's kind of space age. It's like somebody floating in space, which I think is really cool. And so, it doesn't have to be a picture of you, just something that shows something that you're interested in. It might be code, it might be an illustration, it might be, I don't know. I mean, this is where the imagination can go wild, right? So let me, yeah, absolutely. Let me click on this first one and we'll just kind of look at one case study before you move on. Nice. Okay. So are you able to share images of your projects, or do you have okay.
I'm able, if you scroll down a little bit, it's kind of like a story. I just kind of walk you through each phase of how I got to each part. So scenarios, my workflows. Hi, baby. And then basically the analysis that I gathered from each of the different types of research initiatives.
Tell them hi for me. Oh, I didn't know you worked with Insperity. That's really cool. I know Insperity. I use Insperity.
Oh, well, you know what? If you do, I'm always willing to take feedback on our applications and our software. So if you're willing to
let's stay in touch, because I've had yes, I would love to.
Absolutely.
So at the very top, I would put a big image up here, and maybe even if you have a prototype, like either a link to see a clickable prototype or something like that. Put that right here at the top, because that makes me be able to see right there, and I don't have to go digging for the rest of the information. I do think that you've done a good job of making it very readable and scannable. So, as someone who's reviewing it, I really like the colors. I like the way that you've broken it up and made it very easy for me to see what you've done. The deliverables are displayed in a way that I think is really strong. And when I click on it, I can go in and see the details. Although I have to admit, when I look at something like this, it frustrates me that I can't actually read like what's going on the affinity diagram. So, what you might do is have some way where you can call out some of the major insights or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
I'll use,
these profiles look, these portfolios look really good. So I mean, if anybody wants to post their contact information in chat, you know, we'd be willing to you know, talk more about it and you know, talk about some of the work that you guys have done.
cool. Is this balsamic?
Yeah, it is.
I love it. Nobody uses balsamic that I'm teaching anymore. Everybody's into Figma, but I still love balsamic.
I do
Like there's
too.
so much value in balsamic. This is great. Oh, see, I'm familiar with this. This is really funny. I think you did a good job. So overall, I really like the way you're presenting it. Here's what I would do. If you have one, I would do some lessons learned at the bottom. You can even say, you know, that you're still gathering information from users and how to make it better. Like, I think that's impact, right? You can also say, you know, for an impact statement, like Insperity rolled this out to all 33,000 of their customers, and it's been in use now for a year. And, you know, like you can craft an impact statement that doesn't say more than just like what's happening now with it,
Okay.
you know?
So not necessarily just a success metric, but just kind of getting a little bit more personable with how it was taken by the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, you might be
Okay.
able to do that. Sometimes you just have to sometimes you don't have those metrics.
Yeah.
And you just have to make it work. So, you know, that's what I would suggest. If you don't have metrics, you can something. Like I have used in our portfolio, because we don't always get access to success metrics either, working with clients.
Yeah.
But if we get like some feedback where the client's like, oh my gosh, this just made my life easier, you bet that's going in an impact statement right there.
Absolutely. I'm quoting it.
So
you better believe it.
overall, I think this is really great, Danielle, and I'm happy if you want to like talk about like Insperity later, go into more detail.
100%. Yes, I have one follow-up question. You said I should potentially link a prototype, like a high-res prototype at the top. So would you suggest me do annotations on the side? Because I use Axure for the most part. And I usually kind of want, like if I'm giving my prototype to a developer or a QA or a stakeholder, I usually have little post-it notes on the side I can turn on and off. But it basically walks them through the scenarios on how to navigate through the prototype, because we all know that prototypes are not fully functional and they may break it. They have to kind of start from the beginning. Would you think it would be distracting if I put those post-it notes to walk a person through the prototype, or have them a document that they can walk through with?
That is a great question. And I don't know that I have an answer for that, because I don't know that anybody's ever asked me that before. I would say I would test it. That's like usually my answer for everything.
Yeah.
Test it, put it in front of someone and say, does this distract you? You know, or not? Do you need this? You might run into the situation where you have a hiring manager that is familiar with walking through portfolios and knows what to expect. You might. So I would just test it and see what people think.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your feedback. It was so valuable. And I couldn't take notes because of this little human, but I'm so happy that you were recording it so I can go back and refine and learn from your feedback. So thank you so much. And we will definitely be in touch.
All right, great. I'm going to click on the next one. I know I only have 25 minutes left. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Susan, you're up. You were the next one on my list. All right, Susan. Here we go. So I know you're a marketer turned UX, and I think the major question that you have is, how do I make my marketing stuff seem UX? So just kind of walk through it. I like your sidebar navigation. I think this is great. It's easy to see. You've got it. It's very clean. What did you build this in? Sorry, I'm looking.
This is an Adobe portfolio.
Nice. You did it. This is a really nice. Mine doesn't look this good, so this is nice. So again, I love that you have a little bit about yourself. I do recommend putting a little bit of like a personal touch here on the homepage, just to give me even more of a visual snapshot of who you are. And then I tend to like go through and see like what we have. I'm seeing your marketing here. And cool. And then I'm gonna let's like click on the first project. All right. Oh, let me just say one thing. On the homepage, one thing that you like, and this goes for everybody, it's always good to have like a snapshot of like who you are. Like you have this great sidebar here where you can do that, you know, a little bit about yourself, like I want to be a designer who works in these kind of projects. Definitely contact information, maybe even your LinkedIn, and put that right there, because it might be down here and Zoom's in the way. But I definitely want to be able to get in touch with you, and I may not click on who am I. So use this real estate here for a snapshot quick, like your social links, download your resume, and contact information.
Great. No, that's perfect. Yeah. And like I said, this is like, I don't really have a true case study yet. I'm just starting to build things, these projects. So I just thought I'll throw them up there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is great. So one of the things that you'll want to do when you get it all filled out is get a picture or a snapshot of the final, whatever your final is. It can be a wireframe or whatever. Have this somewhere near the top. And also you'll want to, I like to have that, here was the problem I was faced with. So it looks like you've got the assignment, but then also include like, you know, the final solution included this. You may not have impact to the school project. So what you might do is kind of talk through like, you know, constraints, you know, it had to take this amount of time, you know, who was on your team. So if it was a solo project, say that, which are very challenging if it's just solo. And then also maybe even a snap, like the tools that you used, like right there at the top. So I can get a quick like view of what the project is. So as you're going through and thinking about how to write your case study, make sure that you're talking about like the decisions that you made and tell it as a story. So it's great. I'm seeing that you sketched it and all that. So instead of just telling me the what, think about the story. You know, I was really thinking about this. So I decided that I was going to do some rapid sketching just to work my issue, you know, my thought process out so that I could really solve this problem, whatever it is. I don't know if you guys have used Sarah Duty. She has, she has a course on how to write case studies, but she has this amazing article on the Envision blog all about how to write a UX case study. And I love her format. She explains step by step, like how to outline it, how to write the headlines, what to fill in, because a lot of it will be processed. So it's never failed me. So I would recommend using that to help kind of craft all the different sections. You have a lot of good elements here. Is this, where does this go? Oh, does it go to the image?
Yeah, that was my question too, because things like this, and also I've written reports that right now I've, you know, made a PDF and put it in the Dropbox, but like I have, and then I have a written report about like constraints and criteria. So I didn't know how do you add those things versus, you know, down the road I'll have a prototype. These are more like written reports, like if you click on some of the other ones, like this one's just showing wireframe, but like the heuristic evaluation, how do you handle some of those things that are, they're written? I put it in a nice written format, but I don't know if PDF is the way to go. I don't know.
I can show you, I can't even spell my name right. I can show you on my case study how I handled some of that. Like for me, it was all about the story. I wanted to tell the story of what I did. And I didn't necessarily have to go through and talk about each little piece. This is my thesis presentation here. I have like a big image. I have a link to the prototype, and I hate my portfolio, guys. I'm in the middle of redesigning it, so don't judge. I have the challenge, the problem I'm trying to solve. I kind of walked through some different things, and I have links to some of my some of my deliverables, and then for some other deliverables that I think are really important, like your sketches, Susan, put them right there so I can see thumbnails, kind of like what we saw in Danielle's portfolio. I want to see it, so include it in there, like make it into a ping or a JPEG that I can see right there in big, because I'm lazy. I may not click on every link to see your deliverables. And then what I did, I'm sorry if I'm making anybody sick while I'm scrolling down really fast, but what I did was I included a list of I have an appendix where if people wanted to go more and see like my research plan or my proto persona or the competitive analysis, they can go and link to it. I didn't link to everything, but I just have a list of like, here's everything. And as I was creating it, I had like a design journal that I was filling out, like, here is all my deliverables. That way, when I actually wrote the case study, it was a lot easier to write. So that's what I would suggest here, is that when you're craft the story, and sometimes for me, it's hard. I can't craft the story before it's done. But some people do, so I can't say that you shouldn't do it like that. But craft the story, but capture those deliverables in a way that I can see it right there. I need to see it. And you can also include the link to the PDF version so that people can look at it a little bit more closely if you'd like, just have it open a new tab.
If you click on the user needs project, well, whenever you get there, but I do have the one on the side where I linked to an affinity map that I did in like Figma. That I don't know if, like you're saying, so you're saying more show. Scroll down just a little bit.
This is great. Yeah, I like the embedded Figma. This is fantastic. So do stuff like this. So basically, don't just show me a link with a image here. Yeah. Just show me the deliverable right there.
The PDF or the maybe a screenshot of the report, and then if you want to read the full report, are you saying like click here?
Yeah, something like that. I would try that first. We can go in. Okay. You can go in and refine and hone, but that's the first thing I would do, is show your delivers. Don't hide them. Don't make me go looking for them. Is that what I would say?
Do you want to see though, like the written report when you're looking at a new designer, like not really?
No, not really. I mean, you can summarize it, and what, like, in terms of like if I was showing my research plan, I really wouldn't show the plan. But what I would do is have like, here was my methodology, and I decided to interview this many people, and I used this, I did it through Zoom or whatever it is, like tell a story. Okay. And if you can, you can snap, like I snapped some screenshots of the usability testing, and then I blurred their face so that I wouldn't like violate any kind of confidentiality. But that's what I do, is like, well, look, I did usability testing. You can see it right here. So, take pictures throughout of your process. Like have somebody come over and take a picture of you sketching. I love to see behind the scenes stuff. I love that. I'm like, ooh, look at that, pictures. I'm very visual. So, and I know a lot of hiring managers are. So I would say that's a good thing to focus on when you're putting together these. But definitely use Sarah Duty's case study outline to help you write it.
And I guess, is it worthwhile?
Working with layered images really helps you in sort of displaying your process, because you can kind of display how you built your vector layer by layer.
Yeah, you don't want to make it too long. So you have to be careful about how you put that together, especially because, most of these projects are kind of focused on the process of UX and less on just the building and the UI. But I do like to see the process from sketch to mid-fi to hi-fi, and kind of see the progression of like a screen, so I can see what iterations you made along the way. Right. That really helps. So.
Well, I know you got to get to other folks, so I know this is cool. So that's all great stuff.
I hope it was helpful.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, next person on the list. I'm sorry if I don't get to everybody tonight. we can always schedule a portfolio review another time. You guys can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just tell me that you met me through this portfolio review, and I'll let you in, because typically I'm very picky. If I don't know you, I don't connect. All right, Clement, you're up. Sorry, tonight is the night my phone is going off crazy. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, well, Clement, I'm gonna put you on the hot spot here. So I really like the fonts you used. I really like your logo here. Is this okay? So this is the home page, and it goes straight into UX case studies. What I would say is do like a little intro if you can about, like, if this is the home page I'm going to, just a little bit of an intro. Because immediately I'm like, oh, are they a UX designer? Are they a product designer? Is it a UX researcher? Because now I'm questioning and I don't know. So a little bit about you at the top. But I do like how clean it is here. I'm gonna scroll down. I see culture, vulture, covert communication. Oh, web design. Good. I like that you've called out what the project was. User experience design. 7 Meals app design, nice. A wide variety, this is cool. Customer experience design, cool. And then you have your social, that's great. So following my own rule, I always click on the first one. I like your dark mode too. I don't see it as often. A lot of people go more kind of traditional with the white background. All right, so I see you have kind of an intro to the project. I would like to see like your final design somewhere near the top. That would be really helpful. So I can just get a glance of what it is. So don't hide your hi-fis. It might be good to kind of break up this text, make it a little bit easier for me to just scan through. I may not look at it all. I'm immediately wanting to see this first picture and what this is all about. So was this given to you? Did you design it, or?
My client gave it to me. Yeah, this is
okay.
a freelance project.
Got it.
And because they gave me the most of the UX process, so I'm sorry if there's not enough process being shown.
No, I would break it up though, and I'd have problem, and then put your constraints, put actually what you did, like at the top, freelancer brought in for the visual or the, you know, the UX wireframing and visual design and interaction design. Like have that at the top so I know what to expect, because immediately I'm asking questions of like, what is this? Did you create a style guide based on their creative sample that they gave you?
The wireframes they did is pretty much a style guide.
Okay. So I would definitely include at the top, like the background of the project, and you probably have that already. And then what your solution is. I don't need to do any research. The client handed it to me. Like say that upfront with your constraints and your all, you know, the tools that you used, and maybe even miniaturize what your process was here at the very top, like reviewed branding guide, create hi-fi mockups, and like just at the very top, so I know that it's not the full UX process, but like a condensed version, because there's nothing wrong with including it, but just so that I know what I'm looking at and that I don't have questions. I think your designs are really beautiful. And I like how you're displaying them, because I can click on it and I can go deeper if I want to. Then you have your high fidelity and your prototype.
That's
nice. And then user testing. I'd pull this out, make it bigger. Did you do this at the very end of the project, the user testing?
That's when I had the final for my client, and my client gave me their feedbacks from other people.
Mm-hmm. So you handed them off the prototype and then they gave you back the user testing feedback?
Yeah.
Is that what? Okay, cool. Yeah, so what you might do is finish this out with like what happened after you handed it off, that they went and did some user testing and this was the feedback and you had client feedback. So in this is a great opportunity here at the end to sum it all up with a lessons learned. What did you learn from the project? What went right? What went wrong? You know, obviously being careful not to make your client mad or anything like that, but just what your learnings were so that you can kind of sum it up. Because right here, I'm like, this is great. Then what happened? Right? Like any next steps, had you all to do it over again, what would you have changed? What would you do next? And that way I kind of get a feel for like what your thought process is and how it went for you. Does that make sense? Yeah. Let's see. I feel like that was pretty short. Let me look. Can I look at your visual design? Was this pre-UX?
Most of them, yeah.
So I like that you include visual design too. So this is awesome. Let me see. I'm waiting for it to come up. Is it just pictures, kind of like on Behance?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so the way to make your other stuff stand out as UX is just tell a story. That's really the magic of it. Just tell a story. What was the story of the project? As much as you can talk about the user. So if they gave you the user research, you know, that's okay. Just say, you know, here's the user that we're trying to solve this problem for, because that's the difference between that and visual design and UI design. Well, I mean, UI is under UX, but like usually like visual design is just like, let me make it pretty. Let me make something that's beautiful. But UX design is all about, we have this user and we want to do something that solves the problem for them. So that's what I'm looking for in your portfolio, is to see, do you have the user in mind as you're creating these deliverables? So make sure that you're telling the story with the user in mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Do you have any other questions for me? I think I have time for one more portfolio.
No, it's okay.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't want the next person to be so time consuming.
No, really, ask your question. It's fine.
But yeah, I have my profile and about section. I have my resume in there, so that's just like an extra thing.
I think this is great. And then this brings up your PDF.
Here, yeah, Google Drive.
Nice. You could put it right here at the top too, just like download resume in addition to that, if you really wanted people to look, but you don't have to.
Okay.
I think this is cool. Yeah, this gives me a pretty good idea of who you are, and I think it's great.
So you think that should be on top of the UX case studies instead?
No, this is more in depth, right?
Okay.
You can even add some more stuff. But here on this page, you know, might just go, hi, I want to be a product designer. I want to work on really cool mobile apps or whatever it is, you know, some sort of single statement. It can be just a single sentence, what you're looking for, what your focus is. So I don't get confused, because if I see UX case studies right next to visual design, I might not know which one you're more interested in. And I just want to make sure that I know you as a designer and can see like your passion. You're making, you could even say like, I'm moving into UX design. I'm passionate about the user, and I want to take my visual design skills and learn how to think about them in a different way, whatever it is. You know.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I really like your color on this one.
Yeah. All right. One more. Cat. Or the next one on my list. Sorry. I'm trying to be fair. Let me go to my browser really quick. That's the wrong browser. Oh, there it is. Is it Katrina or Kat?
I shortened it on my URL as Kat Bono, but my full name is Katrina Bonwan.
How would you like me to refer to you? Katrina?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and
All right.
I just wanted to let you know, Brittany Hang was actually above me, but
Oh, she was? I'm
yeah.
sorry. Brittany, we'll get together and you reach out on LinkedIn and I'll go through your portfolio.
Okay.
Everybody, that's open for
Yeah,
everybody here.
Unfortunately, I have about 2% battery here, so I'm going to have to leave this meeting. But I look forward to connecting with you all, and thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you, Roman. All right,
All right.
Katrina. Let's see. Oh, so this is great. This is a great example of saying who you are and what you do. UX researcher and designer. This is fantastic. I love the scannability of this. It tells me a lot about who you are. I even see some of your design aesthetic here at the top. And you have your LinkedIn and email. I love this. This is fantastic. And I also love that you have your resume and the about. So I'm going to scroll down. Sorry, I'm having to move the Zoom window all over the place. Let's see. This is great. I like the headline you have here because this tells me a little bit about what you did. I don't know if this is of interest to you, but if this is like a service design or a digital app, you might want to include it in the headline because I can't tell from your thumbnail what it is. The same thing for, oh, I can tell that this is a site redesign here and a website redesign. So it's something here you might think about adding. Let me, did I get everything? Okay, yeah, so there's a footer. I'm gonna click on this. All right, yeah, so I love that you have Post-it notes here. I also kind of would like to see what the final product is at the top. I'm not sure how you reconcile the two, so I'm gonna put that to you. But you might even put a snapshot of what the project was here as well. So, you know, that I can see like, you know, what the challenge was that you were faced with and maybe a little snapshot. I know that you have the overview here. I like this where you have your roles and your durations. You might put tools, maybe something else for a third column here.
Right.
Very easy to read. I like that you have your team. Is this a boot camp project?
It was a workshop in one of my courses.
Nice. This is such a nice little design, little addition, a little bit of delight. I just really like the shapes that you're using here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really, so just for everyone, I really like that you've broken it up with like a little like, here's your inspiration. And that way I kind of know what to expect as I'm going through. There might be something where you add like a little bit of impact, maybe a quote at the top. Maybe your instructor gave you some really good feedback, or maybe a client did something here that draws me in and tells the story a little bit more. So this is great. I like your icons that you're using. The only thing on this one is that I can't see your questions and I can't click in to see them and make them any bigger. So that might be something where either you write them out over to the side or make it so that it's clickable and it can pull up full.
Yeah, I was hesitating on that because I was thinking like, oh, this case study is too long and they won't want to read this or whatever. Hello?
Sorry, speakers are weird.
Oh.
My I can tell that my battery life's about to die. So sorry guys, this will be fast, really fast because I've only got a minute anyway. But I can't, let me scroll down. So this looks really good, Katrina. I really like what I'm seeing here. It's very scannable. I can see a lot of good work here. I really like how you're presenting it. So maybe just kind of think about some of the, you know, some of the things that we talked about overall and maybe like adding a little bit to it, but I don't know that I'm seeing anything here that needs to change dramatically, if you know what I mean. Yeah, this looks really good.
Thank you.
Really good. I'm sorry to stop so abruptly, but I'm sure my computer is about to die and my husband's here looking at me going like, we have to go. So this is open for all of you guys. Find me on LinkedIn. Tell me, like, I can set up a portfolio review with you. I could do it also through Product Hired. So you just reach out, do that resume review or the portfolio review, and I'm happy to do that. So Thank you, Mark, so much for inviting me to do this. Sorry, I have to run, you guys.
No worries. Thank you so much, Cindy, for
Thank you.
doing this. It was very helpful, and I
Thank
think
you.
everybody learned.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you later.
Let
Thank
me go ahead
you.
and wrap this up. Okay, upcoming events. Just reminder, hiring manager event on June the 2nd. You should join that because that'll give you some of the perspective. And I know Cindy just gave a lot of perspective on what people are looking for through portfolios. We have the Coaching and Mentorship Matters to both mentors and mentees talk on the June 11th. And how to get promoted to be a director of product. So that would be on June 16th. And then July 12th, think like a product manager. Of course, don't forget, you can get coaching. You can also get through Cindy on there. And lots of other coaches. Check out, because there are a lot of people who do free resume reviews and so on and so forth. So definitely take advantage of the coaching on Product Hired. And thank you. I'll be posting the video probably over the weekend sometime, I'd expect, so you can get your notes there again. And of course, please give us feedback. So it's bit.ly/PHJC-F feedback. You'll see that. But we're always learning, wanting to learn how we can better help you. You can also email me, mark@producthire.com. I'm definitely here to answer any questions or to be of help if you need it. Any last questions before we shut down all?
Hey, Mark, I
Brianna, do you
have a
have anything to say?
question.
Oh, yes, question.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. So learning Zoom etiquette is just so bad for me.
Oh, no worries.
Where will we be able to receive the recording? Would it be in our email or a link that you send out?
We'll send.
Brianna.
Yeah, we'll send out an email probably tomorrow with the recording to the email that you used to sign up for this event. And yeah, it's to one of our email. It's not like an automated. So if you have any questions, you can respond back and we can help you out.
Okay.
And
thank you.
real quick, once I get that video, we'll also post it on Product Hired's channel on YouTube with lots of other videos. So you can check it out there too. So let's do places. Anything else? Any other questions, Danielle?
I guess my last question is, I guess this is just kind of following up from all the portfolio reviews, and I've seen that we all work in collaborative atmospheres, and I guess what is the thin line between, putting your coworkers onto your portfolio as opposed to leaving them off? Because a lot of the time, I mean, I work with sometimes 2-3 people, sometimes solo. I guess I'm just wondering what would be the right cadence to include your coworkers, of course, with their consent. Just trying to figure out how to add them into your portfolio as opposed to, you don't want to leave them out because I know that they work so hard with me. So how do I include them but not overstep their boundaries?
So what I would say, I'm a hiring manager. I have done UX review. I mean, looked at portfolios and hired them. I know you don't do these things in a vacuum, right? And so I definitely, I liked, who was the last one that we just looked at?
Me?
Yeah, Katrina. I liked how she showed them, right? Because you know what? Nobody likes a person who doesn't acknowledge their team. So as a coworker and as a person who manages a team, I love to see that, right? At the same time, I also want to know, I really only care what you did, right? And so you can say that you did this, but I want to know what you did, not we did. I don't like words we. Every time I see a whole thing about we's, kind of scares me, to be honest. But like I's, or I just want to know specifically what you did. You can say what we did, but that should be minimal. What you did is should be the focus of everything. And yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
Does that
sense.
answer?
And I did put a lot of we's because I didn't want to say I, because I am a huge team player and I love collaborating. And so I just want to make sure that whomever is looking at my resume, for whatever reason, they want to know that I am a team player and I love working with other people, but at the same time, I do my own thing as well. So
Yeah.
that's really
And
good to understand.
I liked how Katrina did that. And, just say that, like, I like working with people. And on this project, I worked with this team. And that's really useful because you can say, I had another UX designer, I had an engineer, I had a product manager. You can say, I worked on this project was these groups of people, right? And so on and so forth. And I think it was you, Danielle, you said, when I gave it to engineering didn't follow.
Yeah.
Oh, I still wanted to speak up there, right? Because I don't know why, right? Sometimes engineers do their own thing. Sometimes they do their thing because it was actually a design that couldn't be implemented truly.
Mm-hmm.
And as a designer, I would like to know, what did you learn through that? Did you learn like never to do that particular design as thing with this team? Or, because your craft is going to get better working with engineers. And that
Absolutely.
engineering feedback is so vital. And sometimes, yes, engineers are lazy, right? But sometimes they have really good, legitimate reasons. And if you having been a product person, a manager, if the designer is always designing things that can never be built, that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
And so, of course, I'm also, as a product leader, I'm poking engineering to make sure, no, you're not lazy. I want to make sure, can this be built?
Absolutely.
And it's usually not a problem of can't be built. It's a problem of, okay, 50 hours to do this, 10 hours to do it this way, right? And then they give me the choice and I'm like, well, you know what? It's worth the 50. Or sometimes I'm going to say, let's do the 10 hours worth of, because that costs money, right?
Yes.
And, but I think understanding why it ended up in the current way, and then how you as a designer dealt with future designs with that team, and maybe you thought or interacted closer with the engineering to come up with a design that was still edgy, but at the same time was more doable than you would normally do. That's important to me as a hiring manager.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I guess my last question, I don't want to hold up this particular meeting, but do you have any sessions in the future that will help as a UX designer / researcher communicate more efficiently with the developers, the stakeholders in an agile environment? I know that it's tough. It's tough in UX world to work in agile because that's just in my world, it's hard to do. Do you have any courses or any talks coming up to help my team conform to our lean UX and communicate with developers and QA more efficiently, and not necessarily in a sprint, but maybe in a couple of design sprints before they start their 7PD or their sprint?
Brianna, do you know of anything coming up at GA?
Can you repeat that one more time of what you're looking for?
I'm looking. Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, she's looking for an upcoming talk on how UX designers can work with engineering and do it in a better way through Agile, right?
Yeah, we definitely have some like Agile and Scrum workshops. In terms of like cross collaboration, let me look and see if there's any upcoming talks on that. I'm not personally producing them, but I know that there are many other leaders that may be. So let me do a search and I can ping you on it.
What I would say is for this meetup, we're focused on the actual job aspect. I run other meetups like Product Tank and some others. We've actually done this topic before, and I could go on about it on best practices. Google it, look on YouTube. I'm sure this is a common question. Basically doing design sprints with engineering. That's the keywords I would look for. Design sprints or design sprints of engineering. That's probably a great way to find that. And you'll see probably 1,000,001 videos because it's a common problem. I'm sure there's upcoming ones, not in this particular meetup, but there's other meetups I'm doing, and I might actually do that later this year as well. But Google is your friend, at least in this way. Look on YouTube and see if you can't find that. Any other questions before we end the show?
I'm going to drop a link to an on-demand session that you can, it's from a previous event that we recorded and are offering it to the community to like for playback, and that it's called It's Not a Marathon, It's a Design Sprint, and it might be answer some of those questions.
And Brianna also posted the feedback link, so please give us feedback. And just one last moment on the Product Hired YouTube channel, we have last fall's portfolio reviews. And so I'm sure a lot of you got information and insights by watching the portfolio reviews. And so it's Cindy again, she did one with William Nintum, who's also a designer. And they did an hour-and-a-half long portfolio review. You can go watch that recording and you'll get a lot more of how they reviewed other people's portfolios. It might be useful to you creating your own. Okay, that's it, guys. Have a wonderful evening and come join the upcoming events in June. Take it easy.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
all. Have a good one.
Jak så mycket.
Bye.
Yak Samlar.
Thank you. Bye.